everyone. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Oh man, let me tell you what I saw on General Hospital yesterday, June 10th. I was sitting right there in my chair, coffee in hand, and my heart was pounding the whole time. I tell you, that Lucas fella really had me on the edge of my seat. He set up this big trap for Sidwell, but at first it looked like everything went sideways. Sidwell shot him point blank. For a second there, I thought, oh no, not the kid. But that's Lucas for you. He's a lot smarter than folks give him credit for. He took a huge risk, put himself right in the line of fire, and yeah, some people might say he failed at first. But I'm telling you, that boy had a plan all along. He lured Sidwell right back to Port Charles, even though the guy knew he'd probably get arrested the moment he showed up. That took guts. Right when Sidwell pulled the trigger and thought he was the big winner, boom, the whole PCPD came storming in. Dante, Joe, and the rest of the cops came rushing out with guns drawn. Sidwell got slapped in cuffs so fast his head must have been spinning. I couldn't help but chuckle when Laura came running over to Lucas. And then, the best part, with a little help from Joe, Lucas stood right up like nothing happened. Turns out he was wearing a bulletproof vest the whole time. I slapped my knee and said out loud, "Now that's what I'm talking about." Sidwell finally realized he'd walked straight into a trap when he saw Sonny and Laura stepping out from the shadows. You could see it on his face, that moment when the tables turn. He tried one last desperate move, telling Dante that Laura and Sonny should be arrested for killing Dalton, but come on, there was no proof. Not a single bit. Dante wasn't buying it for a second. Watching Sonny, Laura, and Lucas stand there with those satisfied little smiles, that felt good. Real good. Cassius led Sidwell away in handcuffs, and I couldn't stop grinning. Sidwell had his escape plan ready, but the way the cops positioned themselves changed everything. It was a perfect reminder, never underestimate that guy, but also never underestimate Lucas and the good people of Port Charles. I've been watching these folks for years, and days like this are why I keep coming back. It's messy, it's dangerous, but there's something about seeing smart people protect their own that just warms my old heart. What a ride. You know, the best laid plans aren't always perfect, and boy did I learn that all over again watching General Hospital the other day. Just when I thought Lucas and the crew had finally nailed that troublemaker Sidwell, things took another twist that left me staring at the screen with my mouth open. After they slapped the cuffs on him and Cassius started driving him to the PCPD station, I figured that was the end of it. But nope, Cassius suddenly pulled the car over to the side of the road. My heart skipped a beat because I could feel something wasn't right. He looked at Sidwell and gave him a serious warning, told him flat out that he couldn't shield him from the attempted murder charge hanging over his head. He pretty much said it was time for Sidwell to get out of Port Charles while he still had the chance and disappear for good. But let me tell you something about that Sidwell fella. He's one crafty rascal. A real villain always stays one step ahead of everybody else, and this guy had backup plans for his backup plans. He wasn't about to go quietly. He looked Cassius right in the eye and made it very clear that their shady little partnership was far from finished. Then, cool as you please, he ordered Cassius to hand over the gun. And wouldn't you know it, Cassius actually did it. Just like that. Next thing we see, Cassius is on the phone calling Dante, sounding all worked up. He tells him that Sidwell's people came out of nowhere, launched a surprise attack, and in all the confusion, Sidwell managed to escape. I sat there in my chair, shaking my head and chuckling to myself. "That sneaky devil," I said out loud. One minute he's caught, the next he's back out on the streets, still dangerous and probably already cooking up his next move. It really makes you think, doesn't it? Lucas took such a huge risk, wore that bulletproof vest, set up the whole trap, and for a moment there it looked like they had finally won. But Sidwell slipping away like that reminds us that in Port Charles, nothing is ever simple or final. There's always another twist around the corner. Still, I gotta give Lucas a lot of credit. That young man is smarter than a lot of folks realize. He walked straight into the fire knowing the danger, and even if Sidwell got away this time, he showed everybody that he's not someone you should underestimate. I've been following these characters for years, and moments like this are exactly why I keep tuning in. It's messy, it's full of surprises, and it feels so real sometimes, just like life. You do everything right, you take the big risks, and sometimes things still don't go exactly the way you hoped, but the good people of Port Charles don't give up easy. They keep fighting for what's right, protecting their own, and that kind of heart always warms this old man's soul. I can't wait to see what happens next, because with Sidwell still out there, you just know the story is far from over. You know, the excitement didn't stop there at all. Just when I thought we could all breathe a little easier, the story jumped over to that construction site at the new tennis center. What a scene that was. Sidwell suddenly found himself completely surrounded by the police after he fired 3 shots right into Lucas. 3 shots! I was sitting on the edge of my chair, gripping my coffee mug so tight I nearly spilled it. My heart was pounding like crazy because for a moment there, it looked real bad. Dante Falconeri, Joe Fitzpatrick, and all their fellow officers came in strong. They stepped right up and let Sidwell know loud and clear that his whole game was up, everything had been exposed. They arrested him on the spot for trying to kill Lucas. Laura came rushing over as fast as she could, her face full of worry, just desperate to check on that young man. I felt for her so much in that moment. She's been through enough already. Thank the good Lord, Lucas was okay. With a little help from the others, he got back on his feet, and that's when they pulled open his shirt and showed everyone he had been wearing a bulletproof vest the whole time. He was sore and hurting pretty good, no doubt about it, but he was alive and breathing. I let out such a big sigh of relief, I swear the neighbors probably heard me. That clever boy had planned it all so carefully. Then Sonny stepped out from where he'd been hiding, cool and steady as always. You could see the pure anger flash across Sidwell's face when he realized how deep the trap really was. He started trying to drag Sonny and Laura down with him, pushing hard for them to be arrested for what happened to Professor Henry Hank Dalton. But like I've said before, there wasn't any solid proof, and the police weren't buying his story for 1 second. Now, I kept asking myself, was all of this for nothing? Lucas took such a huge risk out there. He put his own life on the line, not just to help protect Sonny and Laura, but to finally get some justice for Marco too. That young man has a good heart and a sharp mind. But with Sidwell managing to slip away again, it means Lucas is still in serious danger. Laura and Sonny need to keep their eyes open too. 1 minute it felt like victory, and the next it turned right back into worry. That betrayal and everything falling apart around him only made Sidwell's anger burn even hotter. He wasn't thinking straight before because of Marco's death, and everything Sonny, Laura, and Lucas did just added more fuel to that fire. Right now he's out there hiding somewhere, probably carrying out one of those backup plans he had already worked out with Cassius. And the scariest part is he knows the 3 of them believe they've gotten away clean. A desperate man like that, with nothing left to lose, is the most dangerous kind. We longtime fans of General Hospital all know deep down that Sidwell isn't the type to just vanish quietly into the night. Even Laura herself wondered if it was really over when Sonny tried to reassure her, and sure enough, she was right to have doubts. The plan worked beautifully at first, but then it kind of backfired in the worst way. Feels like this whole thing was only the beginning of something much bigger and more complicated. All in all, it was one of those episodes that sticks with you long after it ends. These folks in Port Charles go through so much heartache and danger, always risking everything for the people they love and for what's right. It's messy, it's scary sometimes, and things don't always turn out perfect, but there's something real and inspiring about how they keep standing up and fighting. It reminds me a lot of life itself. You do your best, you take those big chances, and even when the bad guys slip away for a little while, hope and good people still have a way of winning in the end. I'll be right here in my favorite chair, ready for whatever comes next. Because in a town like Port Charles, the story never really finishes. It just keeps pulling you back in with more twists, more heart, and more reasons to care. And I wouldn't miss it for the world.